Hey guys, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to another scintillating episode of Need More Coffee Please with Cisco and Melissa. My name is Cisco.
I'm Melissa.
And before we get too far, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Please like, comment, and share. We really do appreciate it and would help us a ton. And don't be afraid to, leave comments. Whether you agree or disagree, we not going to get our feelings hurt. We'd like to hear some disagreements and see if you have different perspectives on it. Where again, we're not married or dogmatic about the ideas or the things that we're talking about.
We're not married.
Yeah.
Married to the idea.
Yeah, married to the. Okay. Again, we're not married to the ideas we're saying. We're not dogmatic.
Or married. Just kidding. Sorry.
Or we're not dogmatic about any of our theories or doctrines or whatever. So if you have a disagreement, like, let's hear it. We won't get our feelings hurt.
No feelings hurt.
No, not at all. But last episode, we talked about going through trials and who we believe is responsible for those trials. So if you'd like to check that out, please do so. Please go back one episode. And we talked about kind of who we felt like was responsible for those and what our perspective and our experience has been, especially this last year or so. And what
with that in mind, like
yeah, absolutely.
Kind of changed our perspective on how we go through the trials.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so this week we are going to talk about kind of our experience that happened yesterday. We were praying about what to talk about this week, and in that we kind of had an experience where the Lord really pulled us out of our current situation and gave us a bird's eye view of just the past, 15, 20 years. 15. Yeah-ish. Yeah. I guess almost 20 years. I don't know. Somewhere around there. 15 to 20 years. And the different, catastrophic events, I guess, that have happened and our response to them and where he has us right now. And it was pretty, pretty huge, I felt like, because it kind of, it just really showed us like how he has led up to this point in our lives. And so I just hope that this kind of encourages especially anyone who's going through a trial that seems to be recurring. We've definitely had one or so of those in our marriage and lives. And there's a reason why they keep recurring, and it's really hard sometimes to know why or how they keep recurring when you feel like you thought you learned your lesson before. And then it comes back around. So anyway, so we'll talk a little bit about that today. And
it could be frustrating and difficult because with this last trial with my stroke in the last year, obviously the most difficult thing that we've gone through, we've gone through difficult things in the past, the fire when we lived in paradise being kind of the main one. And that was back in 2018 now. So that was what, 7 years ago. And, now going through this, now it feels like, oh, Lord, did we just not, learn our lesson during the fire? Were you trying to teach us the same thing we just didn't learn? And now you're putting us through this now? It's like, honestly, I don't know. I don't know if that's how God operates. I do know that He is patient and loving and kind, and He's not going to get frustrated if we are so dumb or hard-headed that we can't figure out, the lessons the first or second or third time around. He's gracious enough to continue to teach us that lesson, just like a good father is willing to, put you back on that bike, even though you fall and skin your knees a couple of times. As long as you're willing to get back on there, and he's willing to put you back on there and help you, and teach you that lesson to learn how to ride. And so I don't know. I don't know if we just didn't learn the first time, and he's taking us through it, but we're determined to learn it. We're determined to learn it this time around for sure. And we want to make sure that, whatever lessons there are, that we're open to it, and we're going to be receptive to it, and that we want to see and hear the lessons he's trying to tell us.
Yeah. And so this is going to be a little raw and vulnerable, I guess. I know those are like overused words a little bit, but it's, it's true.
It is.
Yeah. So, so buckle up for the raw episode. No. Yeah, it is a little hard to talk about because we haven't really talked about it with a lot of people, and we've kind of alluded to it on here, but we know a lot. We don't have like a huge audience, so it feels a little safe. And maybe that's why we felt like it was okay to share. It's hard to talk about things, and it's really not like YouTube, I don't know, not recommended, but like everyone on here is sharing about stuff like on the other side of it. After they've gone, or like they're on the side of, we figured this out, our marriage is amazing and our finances are awesome, and that's
kids are in Harvard.
Yeah. That kind of seems to be more of the vibe, I guess.
Yeah.
With
positivity and everything's going great, whether it's real or
it
not.
It was hard, but now it's not.
Yeah.
And that can, not that that's not good, but when you're going through it, sometimes you want to know that someone else is going through it too, and how they're navigating all of that. So we really did weigh like whether or not we should talk about more details, I guess. And we felt like, what the heck? Like, we know that there's other people struggling and trying to figure stuff out too. And so we're here too.
Yeah.
And you're not alone. And I don't know, maybe we're just going to be different. Our YouTube is different, and it is. We're old. We're
we're not Mr. Beast.
Yeah, and we're, on the struggle bus too. So that being said, so we've had, these big events that have happened in our lives, and how we've responded to them has always been to, him to get like multiple jobs, me to get a full-time job, which always turns into more than a full-time job. And different things have been sacrificed along the way because of that. Like we hardly saw each other, hardly saw our kids, and I felt like yesterday when he kind of pulled us back, I really saw that, and how this time our response has been different, but mostly because we've really actually sought him this time and prayed about, what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to respond after his stroke, where we didn't really do that in the past, unfortunately. And it's probably why we, maybe keep having this trial come back around.
Hopefully it's the last time.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know if it's like with the recurring trials, like why that is. A lot of, I think the common thought is, yeah, because you aren't learning your lesson, and maybe that's true. I don't know. But anyways, so yeah, this time we are defying all logic and reason, both our own and I think what everyone else,
society, the churches, the world, even a lot of other Christians, think we're a little cuckoo. But it's okay.
So, like I was saying, in the past, his responses, we responded in getting, a lot of jobs to get us out of our situation. And logically, that's what would make sense, right? This time around, he doesn't have that option.
Yeah, even if I wanted to.
Yeah, like he can't. And for me, I mean, I still have a job, but it's just very kind of hit and miss on the hours. Some weeks I, get some hours, other weeks I don't. It's the same job that I had before his stroke. And they've just been really flexible, and it was great for the first year, really, when he kind of needed me more. And so, I've been looking for another job, and nothing's really happened with that. And so, we are where we are, and we feel like, the Lord has really put on our hearts, to do this, and, to invest in Need More Coffee Please, and, building it into possibly a ministry. And again, it doesn't logically, it doesn't really make sense, but he has given us so much confidence in what we're walking into, even though we don't even see, honestly, the next step in front of us. It's almost a blind trust at this point. But yeah, I've never, I don't know the last time I've had this much confidence in something.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
As much as it doesn't make sense. And before, yes, we did, get the jobs, work the hours, try to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, put our nose to the grindstone, all those sayings, all those phrases.
That's what we were trying to figure that out earlier. If it was hand to the grindstone,
yeah, nose to the
grindstone.
And we had our noses down so much, working so hard, that we never came up to really look up and look around and really seek the Lord and ask him if that's what he really wanted us to do. We just did it because we felt like that's what we needed to do.
Yeah.
We needed to work hard. We needed to work our butts off. We needed to get the hours, get the paychecks, pay the bills, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-mm.
I feel like the Lord can and does use that and will use that. And, with that, with working all those hours and doing all that stuff, there were some sacrifices. Like our
Mhm.
walk with the Lord wasn't what it should be. Our relationship with each other and with our kids just what it should be, because we were just working so much.
Mhm.
We were away from the home so much, and so a lot of that was sacrificed. And this time around is definitely different.
Yeah,
You
like,
know.
I remember when he was still in the hospital, right when he went into the hospital, like, I had this just I don't know, I just knew the Lord was telling me, we are not to go back to what we were doing before. Not necessarily, like, profession, but, that too, but more
Mm.
this is changing everything, and I had, well, that was so impressed on me so strongly, um, and not that I haven't doubted that at
Oh yeah.
times,
Mhm.
because there's been many times where I'm like, "Really?" And, I'm like, "Whatever," like, I just need to, started to think, again, logically, "This is what I need to do," and he has stopped me every single time, and really, almost brought me back to that moment of knowing in my, deep, deep in my being that, "No, you are not going back to, to that again." And so, we've had a lot of, confirming, I don't know, every day, honestly.
Mhm.
We have had so much confirmation and just, I don't know, even
Yeah, confirming
affirming.
words,
Yeah.
confirming situations,
Mhm.
things that do work out, things that don't work out. And this time around, as opposed to some of the other times, we were really making a conscious effort to seek the Lord and all that we
Mhm.
do, every step that we take, every move that we make. It's uh, we really want to, we really don't want to do anything without Him,
Mhm.
and that wasn't necessarily the case before.
Yeah.
Before we would do something, get another job, and be like, "This is what you want, Lord, right?
Mhm.
Okay, we're gonna,
Yeah, this
we're
is what we
gonna do
gotta do.
this.
This
Yeah,
is
this
what we're
is
supposed to do.
exactly."
Mhm.
And we didn't really, seek Him diligently and hard on those things. And so, this time around is definitely different.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that it's easier.
No.
Um,
Or that it's not scary as heck,
yeah,
'cause
yeah, for sure. And those other times where we got the jobs, in some ways it was easy, in some ways it was hard.
Mhm.
And looking back, at it, we realize now how difficult it was,
Mhm.
and how detrimental it was to our family. But when you're in it and you're just doing it, and you work, sleep, and eat, and that's all you do, then you don't really, you're not really seeing that.
Mhm.
We didn't have that perspective. We're just in it. And now that we're out of it, we realize, man, we didn't really seek the Lord on it, spend time with each other, spend time with the kids like we should have, and now we see how, how bad that was, and we don't want to repeat that same mistake again,
Yeah.
because we've
And
done
thankfully,
that.
it's not as bad as it could have been,
Sure.
we
Hmm.
had a good, good relationship, even though it could have definitely been better.
Hmm.
And our kids, thankfully aren't like
Delinquents.
delinquents. They're not in juvie or
Yeah.
on drugs or it's, yeah, he was definitely faithful and protecting us, even in our stupidity, I guess, but or just, yeah, like treading water, trying to keep our heads above water. So, not to say that those things are bad, I think we kind of already said that, um but not seeking him and not really bringing him into the equation is bad. And that is not what he wants, and it's not ideal. And so, if you do have a recurring trial, like maybe that's why. Just something to think about.
Could be.
Um but yeah, I back, a few months ago, like we really haven't talked in depth about this to a lot of people. And, when you're on this road or a similar road, um, you might find that they're, the people that you normally would kind of talk through life with may not be who you need to talk to right now, not anything against them or like they're bad or anything like that, or your relationship, your friendship is bad or anything like that. But unless you've been on this road or a similar situation, they're like, not everyone's going to get it. And that is really, really hard, especially when you're, like a people pleaser like me. And you care what people think, and because you really have to come to the place where you don't care. And that's not easy. And I remember talking to my mom a few months ago, and I was kind of talking through all this stuff with her. And it's even hard, to talk about now, because a lot of it we don't even know what to say or how to say it, how to describe like the spot that we're in. A lot of it, I just feel like we're repeating, it doesn't make sense. And I know this isn't completely illogical. Like, it doesn't make sense to us, but anyway, I was telling her, like, please don't talk about this to anyone. Don't tell anyone about this. Because I feel like other people are going to worry and stress about our situation more than we are, and that is like, scares me, I guess. Because we have had a lot of confirmation and confidence in the Lord in this. Not that we haven't stressed, not that there haven't been, some big moments of anxiety, but for the most part, like, we're not, oddly enough. And, so it's a weird feeling to be like almost protective of other people, I guess.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I don't want them to worry for me, because I'm not worried for me. Not that we're not worried, but not as much as we normally would be.
Yeah. And as much as other people would be for us.
Yeah.
Especially those who care about us.
Exactly.
And they want.
Because I know we would be like, we would be worried if other people, for other people in this situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is the Lord speaks different things to different people while they're going through different trials and situations. And just because he's spoken to us a certain thing doesn't mean he's speaking to other people who are around us, who are close to us, even that thing, so they might not understand.
Yeah.
And
that's okay.
And that yeah, that's exactly. That's okay. It's not that they're not hearing from the Lord. It's not that we're necessarily hearing from the Lord,
or that they're against us. Like, the opposite, I know, is true. Like, they care about us, and they, if you're in the same situation, like, they care about you.
All that to say, don't let other people discourage you from what you really believe the Lord has told you to do. We're not saying to make your circle smaller or to cut out certain friends or anything like that. But use your discretion, use the wisdom that God gave you on what to tell people, what not to tell people. You don't have to tell them everything or everything that's going on, because at the end of the day, like we've been saying, like some people just won't understand, they won't get it, and out of concern for you, they will try to stop you, from doing something that might sound crazy, that might sound a little off the wall, but that what the Lord is telling you to do ultimately. So it's okay. It's okay if other people don't get it. A lot of it is just between you and the Lord, and
I think that's just like the important thing to remember is, it's better, like, our job is to please him and not, other people, and like make that your goal and kind of come back to that. If you find yourself in the situation where you have to, consider who you're telling stuff to.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely. And so we hope that was encouraging. Hope you guys got something out of it. We appreciate y'all watching and listening. We thank you so much. Again, friendly reminder to hit that subscribe button, like and comment and share. Hit that little bell so you know when new episodes are coming out. And we love you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you soon.
See you next time.